We are Katie and Giancarlo Caldesi. We run the cookery school, La Cucina Caldesi. Also, we have Caffè Caldesi in Marylebone, and we have a restaurant in Bray called Caldesi in Campagna. And today we're going to show you a wonderful Italian recipe. And today we are going to make a ragu, which is a Tuscan ragu. So the way we go is 500 grams of pork mince, 500 grams of minced beef. We got 150 grams of carrots, 150 grams of onions, and 150 grams of celery, 60 grams of tomato paste, 800 grams of plum tomato. We got 150 grams of olive oil and 300 ml of red wine. So, and then we have 2 sprigs of rosemary and some bay leaves and few cloves of garlic. I think 3 would be enough. So this is our basic ingredients for our Tuscan ragu. We use a food processor for the carrots, celery and onion. You need to do them separately because the carrots, the onion and the celery, they have different consistency. So in a food processor, use it at different time. And now we're going to make ragu. We start with the soffritto, which basically we will put all the olive oil into the pot. Voila. Then we put some black pepper. And then we shall do 3 cloves of garlic. Just squash them like that. What you do with the garlic, don't cut it very fine. Your big lumps will be fine just to flavor the actual ragu. That's brilliant. And then, because if you cut it very fine, it burns very easily. Like this, you put a nice flavor to the ragu, but it doesn't stink of garlic that much. So garlic is a flavor enhancer. There we are. Now, what you need to do is very important. You need to really get the flavor out of the garlic and the olive oil, and the black pepper with the olive oil does give you an extra flavor. Pepper is a spice, so if it's cooked with the olive oil, it gives you an extra flavor. Then what you do, you add all your ingredients, which is carrots. It's 150 grams of carrots that goes in just a second, because as I said, we need to get some lovely flavor out of this. The importance of cooking, get the flavor in to begin with, and then the dish will be fantastic. So there we are. Now this is doing very well. So we put carrots in, we put the celery, and we put the onions. And then we put a pinch of salt. There we are. And then you stir it. And at this point, this is really cooking very beautifully. At this point, you put your rosemary, and I usually put it like this. Just leave the stem like this, and then you remove the stalk later on. And also you put the bay leaves with the soffritto. So that gives all the flavor. So the soffritto, it has to be absolutely flavored and has to cook for at least 15 minutes. When this gives you that kind of the vegetables are soft and you can feel the smell of it. So after that, we will add the meat. You know when the soffritto is ready because it gets stuck to the pan a little bit, and also the color is changed, and you can feel it with your wooden spoon. You can feel it that the actual is quite cooked, and also the smell is divine. At this time, you're going to add your beef, and you're going to add your ½ kilo of minced pork, and then you need to really work with it. Make sure that it's all been separated nicely, otherwise you get lumps, and so that will take you about 10 minutes. Okay, so 10 minutes you work with the pot and with your ragu. Just see, bash it all up and do like this, so there's no lumps. It's all, and also another very important thing is that either the pork or the beef has to be minced quite rough, coarse mincing, not a fine mince. Do not use fine minced beef. It's or pork. It really is not the ticket for a Tuscan ragu. There we are. What you need to do, you need to make sure that all the water, all the liquid from the pork or the beef or any other meat is completely dissipated from the actual pot. Do not drain it. Okay, that's a very big mistake. Just let it come out naturally. Look how much vapor. Once this is done, and you can see by opening it up a little bit at the bottom of the pot, you can tell there's no more water. Then you add your lovely red wine. Now, so 300 ml of red wine goes in, and listen very carefully. The pot earlier on was crying. Now suddenly, listen, there is a silence. And the reason is simple, because the actual liquid is made the beef and the pork revitalized again. Now we need the actual wine to dissipate completely. Do not put wine on a frying pan and put reduction inside. If you put reduction of wine, it's very bitter and it really spoils the ragu. The wine has to be put into the meat, dissipated like this, so the tannin is retained within the meat and it's got a lovely oaky flavor later on when you eat it. And when you eat, the ragu is a build-up of real flavors, one after another after another. And that's why it takes such a long time. So far, splendid. Okay, now that you smell it and the wine, there's no more smell of wine, we add our lovely plum tomato. There we are. This is 800 grams, I might add. And we add our 60 grams of tomato puree. Voila, that's it, fatto. Now what we need to do, we need to really stir it in nicely. And now we need to let it cook, simmer. We need to let it simmer for about an hour and a half. And you can see when it's ready. Minimum an hour and a half, but simmering very slowly. And if the ragu gets a little bit dry, we can add a little bit of stock, even water. Just water will do, so the ragu doesn't burn, but it gets cooked. That's what's important. Now we lower this one down to a simmering pace. There we are. And ladies and gentlemen, our ragu è pronto. Meraviglioso. And what we're going to do now, you get your lovely pasta. Put the ragu into, this is a proper Tuscan ragu, as you can see. Ragu in Tuscany means real meat. That's a real meat ragu. And what we're going to do, we're going to put some pasta and we're going to toss it into on the frying pan, and then we serve it. There we are. That's our lovely pennoni. There we are. 1, 2, 3. Go. And here you go. What's important about ragu or making pasta with ragu is that you need to blend it in a frying pan. Don't fry, but just toss it gently. There we are, like this. So all the pasta gets really beautiful. All the ragu gets into the pasta and the flavor is there. And now we're going to serve our excellent ragu. This is a fabulous, fabulous plate of pasta with an excellent Tuscan ragu.